Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I think one of the hardest things about being an entrepreneur is just trying to keep a positive mindset. So today, I was doing great on TikTok live. I felt great, full of energy. I was excited to be on there. And my TikTok got restricted, the live. They said scams and fraud. And this wasn't even the first time this has happened. The first time it happened, I appealed it and they took the restriction off. Everything was fine. This time when they did it, they actually denied the appeal, and so I cannot go live on TikTok until Monday around, I think it's like 11 a.m. Monday, May 5th, 11 a.m. is when I can go back on live. And it really just discouraged me. I'm not gonna lie, it really like messed up my mood for the whole day. Not the whole day, but it was really hard to like try to find the positive outlook on the whole situation, because if you guys have been following me for a while, or at least this channel, you guys know I'm really into my coaching business. I love it with all of my heart, and it just kind of felt in the moment, it just kind of felt like a setback. Like most of my money comes from TikTok live. Um, and to have it taken from me for a few days, and I didn't even do anything, it was just like, what the hell? So it really just like discouraged me. I still went to the gym. I just got back from the gym actually, and I'm actually really proud of myself for the fact that I still, despite being discouraged, still went to the gym as planned. But my energy was not like there. I really just felt like I was going through the motions. And I was trying to, look at the bright side. Like, okay, well, for the next 3 days, I can make content for YouTube. I can knock out more reels. I have something else in the works for you guys. So there's things that I can do while my TikTok live is restricted. But I guess for me, it was more or less the principle of it. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, and they literally restricted my live. And it was just very frustrating, you guys. And one of the biggest things that, and again, I'm still a work in progress. I ain't trying to say I'm perfect on any of the things, but one of the things that I have worked really hard on, I would say these past 2 years, really this past year, the most, like trying to lock in, is trying to keep a positive mindset and understand that things are happening for you and not to you. And again, I know it is so hard to keep that mindset when you're pissed off. It is so hard to keep that mindset when life just slaps you in the face, right? It's really hard to maintain that energy. But when you collect yourself and you just breathe and you start listing off the things that you're grateful for, it does make it better. Now, does it alleviate it altogether? No. But it does make it better. It does make it better. And so, I didn't, it took me about a good 30 minutes to like kind of woosah a little bit, because once the live ended, and that's the thing too, I was still able to get 3 sales on live today, so that is definitely a blessing. But it took about 30 minutes after the live was restricted and after the appeal was denied. It took about 30 minutes for me to collect myself. I wanted to cry so badly, but my makeup was so nice. I was like, if I cry, I'm gonna mess up my makeup. So I was trying to hold back the tears, but I really wanted to cry. But after those 30 minutes of just decompressing and getting my thoughts together, I was like, okay, well, sometimes, a lot of times, most of the times, the universe makes things happen for you so that you can do other things, right? And from what I've gathered, I don't know if you guys are spiritual or not, leave a comment down below, but one of the things I gathered was the universe knows I would not have taken a break from life unless I was forced to. Because, like I said, I have a lot of YouTube content that I could be making and batching. I have a lot of reels that I could be making, because if y'all have been following me, y'all know I've been going crazy with the reels. I have something in the works for you guys which requires more content, more filming, more editing. So there's still a lot of stuff I can do. And during those 3 days that I can't go live on TikTok, I can pour all of my energy into that. And going live on TikTok, and I'm also live on YouTube too at the same time, but doing those lives, I'm on there for about 2.5 hours. And it's not bad. It's not the first thing I do in the morning. When I first get up, I eat, well, I take a shower, put myself together, eat. I started going on a walk to really just get my mind right and clear, because going live for that amount of time and teaching and educating, I love it to death, but it does take a lot of energy out of me. It really does. Not in a bad way, but by the time I get off, I'm just kind of like pooped a little bit, like, whew, all right, you know what I mean? And so it's so much harder for me to film content after the live. When I batch record YouTube videos and stuff, reels, I do it before. And recently, what I've been doing is the days that I don't go live are the days that I make that content. And so I know, I know because I know myself, if the live wasn't taken from me temporarily, I would not be going live. And so I had to remind myself in the moment, like, okay, calm down. You still got 3 sales. Let's use this time to make this content, get our mind together. Because I went live yesterday, which was Thursday. I was able to finish the live. I was at the end. I was at the offer, so it wasn't like they cut it off mid live. I only had like 15 minutes left on my live anyway, so I was able to get through most of the live. Let's use this time to get our thoughts together. Let's plan this content, batch this content, get this content sent off to my assistant, and let's just use these 3 days for content. And when my live gets restored, we go back on live, and all the content, at least for the next week and a half, is done. So it took me a while to get to that. It didn't like, it wasn't like the live got cut off and within 2 minutes I was like, it's okay, everything's gonna be great, we can do this. No, it wasn't like that. No, no, I had to really get myself together. But I say all of this to say, a lot of times when you're an entrepreneur, it ain't never no straight path. It's always winds and curves and dips and ups, hills, valleys, mountains, all the things. And as a CEO, you have got to keep yourself collected. It's not always easy. Most of the time it's not, but you do have to keep yourself collected. I was very irritated. I was very bogged down. Like I said, my energy just kind of felt off, especially because I didn't do anything differently than what I normally do. And then the fact that the appeal wasn't approved. That's what really ticked me off more than anything. But I had also said to myself months ago, I did not want another business where I have to go live in order to make money. I had said that, I had spoken that out into the universe months ago, maybe even a year ago, because before this, I was doing OnlyFans. And my first 2 years of doing OnlyFans was straight content. Like I didn't really have to go live, but businesses shift, things change, you have to make adjustments or whatever. And so for 2 years, I would have to go live in order to make money. And it wasn't something that I enjoyed. And that's a totally different business. But the point I'm making is I had said to myself then, whatever business I end up starting and doing, I do not want to have to rely on lives in order to make money. That's what I had said to myself. And when I started the coaching business, you should go live. As a creator, I don't care what you're selling, you should go live. I'm not sitting here saying that you should not. You should go live. I will always continue to go live. I've been going live for years. But I didn't want my business model to be heavily dependent on live in order to make money. And so this kind of happening just reaffirmed what I had already told myself. I want to be a content based business where sales come from the content that I produce, because I love creating content. I love creating content more than anything. I love creating content. And I want my sales of my digital products to come more so from the content I produce than the lives. Not that I'm not going to go live or that I don't want to go live, but that's just kind of how I've always wanted my model to be. And so it just kind of reassured me, like, hey, well, if this is what you said you want and you have spoken this into the universe months and months and months ago, then that means in order for that to take place, you have to lock in on content. And when I started my coaching business months ago, my first sales came from YouTube. They did not come from TikTok Live. They came from this YouTube channel, because I had been nurturing this YouTube channel for several months before I even dropped the digital product, which was the coaching. And so I reminded myself of that. Like, when you were showing up every single day, making content, pouring into your audience on YouTube, your first sales of your coaching business came from YouTube. But the more I started focusing on going live and trying to get money quick, I stopped making content and started hopping on the lives. And I've been doing that. I've kind of winded it back a little bit. I don't go live every day like I used to. And I used to go live like 2 and 3 times a day. It was very exhausting. And so in that process, I stopped making content because I was going live. And so I had to remind myself of that today. Actually, I had to be like, okay, you said you did not want a business where sales were heavily dependent on lives. In order to get to that point, it's going to require you to get back to making content. So I feel better. It's been several hours since the whole thing took place. So, I'm slowly getting my energy back. But I wanted to share that with you guys because I could have easily just laid in bed after that and just cried myself a good cry and woe is me and why is this happening to me? Whoop de woot. But I decided to channel my irritation, my frustration, my disappointment into looking at the brighter side. And I encourage you guys to do that with whatever you have going on, especially in your business, because you cannot sulk. You cannot sulk. You got to get up. You're a CEO. You got to lift your head up, wipe your tears, and get back to business. You cannot sulk and mope and whine. You cannot. You cannot. You've got to keep pushing because that's what separates you from everybody else who's trying to make money online. The people who keep pushing even when, things get in the way versus the people who quit the minute something doesn't go their way. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you guys. I feel a lot better. Like I said, I was able to still get 3 sales. So, it wasn't like today was the worst day ever. It was just a bump in the road. Make sure you guys click the link below and join my mentorship. It's 12 weeks. I teach you how to create and sell digital products and all of the things. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.